Hey crew, it's Coach Josh with Garage Gang Gyms, and today we're going to talk about the chest supported row. Now, I love this exercise. Become a staple in my online programming and in-person programming for a few reasons. Number one, if you're doing a lot of deadlifts, RDLs, already working your lower back quite a bit, it may not be suitable for you to do bent over rows, or at least as much bent over rowing as you normally would. But yet we still want to get some rows in. This exercise is a great movement for that. We take the lower back out of it for the most part. We can really emphasize that mid to lower back, at least the way that we're going to be doing it today, so that we can get stronger. And maybe if you're dealing with a problem in your deadlift or your RDL, this can actually help us, right? It can really make us feel the muscles in our back without worrying about balance and hamstrings and things like that. Now, as you can see, I'm actually using a pad that attaches to the rack. I love using a seal pad like this. If all you have access to is an incline bench or an adjustable bench, that's totally fine. But notice, I have this at a pretty mild angle. Most incline benches that are fixed are going to be at quite a steep angle, and it can be really hard to get this exercise in the right lines. Now, again, it's not completely flat, it's just a little bit up. And again, this is going to allow me to keep everything set the way I want and really get a good stretch at the bottom. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about what my body is going to be doing. So when I lay on this pad, this still is going to be a total body exercise. Now, one benefit again to this pad is you're not going to have that seat right between your crotch, right between your legs. So some benches, you can actually get that out of your way. Also, another benefit is a lot of incline benches, they have the pad that extends this far, right? Now, if that's the case, you're just going to be putting your forehead on the pad, and as you do your row, your head's just going to come off the pad just a little bit, okay? Nothing too crazy. We're not trying to strain your neck. Okay, so I'm going to put my sternum on this pad. I need my pecs to be able to move just a little bit. My legs are going to be rather straight. They don't have to be completely locked up, but pretty straight. I want a little bit of a tip in my hips. Okay, so if this is where they normally would be, I want just a little bit tucked under. That way, when I bring my ribs down, I'm going to get a lot of core engagement, and it's going to stop my body from doing all this weird stuff. Oftentimes, people get lazy with this exercise, and as they pull, their chest is going to come way up here because there's no engagement in their core to keep them down. And then when they pull, it's very similar to if you have your bench at the wrong angle. You're going to get all this trap engagement way up here. You're going to get a lot of front of your shoulder engagement, right? And this being a pull, we don't necessarily want to feel the fronts of our shoulders. We want to put it all in our posterior that we can. So again, lock my legs, hips are tucked, ribs are down. Then when I set my rib cage, you can see how my chest is going to come up a little bit. Now I don't need my chest to move much more than here. Everything's going to be tight. I'm going to pull my elbows back. And even without weights, I'm feeling my back squeezing together. Now we're trying to target the mid to lower back here. If we're hitting too high, right, this can be achieved with other exercises at better angles. What we're trying to do is, like I said in the beginning, we're trying to help our deadlift, our bent over row, anytime that we need our mid back to be anchored to our lower back. Anytime you're bracing, squatting, this exercise is really going to help us with that. So in order to facilitate that, we need to make sure that, again, our shoulders stay down, our rib cage stays down, our hips stay tucked as we do this pull. Okay, so let's grab some weights. All right. So at the bottom here, I'm going to make sure legs are rather straight, glutes are tucked, ribs are down. I'm going to let my arms stretch completely, okay? Some people will actually take it all the way down here, and that's fine if that's what you like. I personally like to keep my brace set so it prevents me from reaching too far. Not that that's a bad thing. I just sometimes get a little ugly with my brace here. So I'm going to be tight, glutes, everything, pull my elbows back. And again, right from the get-go, I feel my back. If you're not feeling your mid and lower back, you're probably not in the right position. Now, if as you're pulling, you feel some discomfort, the number one thing you want to do is tell your coach, right? So with the Garage Gang Gyms online program, there's the results section. Put, hey, this is bothering my shoulder, my back, my neck, my whatever. Tell your coach before you start tweaking some things, right? Don't eliminate the exercise necessarily unless you just really can't figure it out and I'm not able to reach out to you immediately. But once you've told your coach, hey, I was feeling some, anterior shoulder discomfort. Okay, great. Then you can kind of play with it. Now, if you are feeling pain there, chances are you're pulling too much with your hand. And what that's doing is it's changing the angle, right? So maybe it's forcing your shoulder forward as you pull because maybe it's too low. Maybe you're doing too much of a bicep curl and it's, again, pulling your shoulder forward. If you have discomfort here, chances are you have activation in your traps, right? Your traps are up here. So give yourself a check. If you pull and you feel that, hey, what happens when I set it down? Oh, it's way better. And again, a great cue is making sure you pull at that elbow. If your lower back is hurting, chances are you're losing your brace or your legs are getting loose and you're overarching and really cramping down in your lower back, which if you're wanting to do back extensions, I guess you could use this for that. But again, we're trying to make sure we're developing a good brace along with a good pull. Now, if you're still feeling pain and you haven't quite figured it out, you're doing online training with me, that means it's time for a form check. I need you to video that exercise and send it to me, right? That way, maybe I can see something that you're not quite seeing or not feeling, or the simple act of recording your lift might enlighten you. You might say, oh, obviously I'm in the wrong place. Obviously I'm using my traps. But whatever, if you still can't figure it out, send me that video for your form check. This has been Coach Josh with Garage Gang Gyms, our chest supported row. I'll see you next time.